गोपी जनवल्लभे वरदं योधनन्दन यमुनातीरा जय राम कुंज विहार जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधर यशोदनन्दन यमुनातीरा गंगाधर कुंज विहार राधामाधव कुंज विहारी जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवार अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की ISKCON founder Acharya BBT founder Acharya His Divine Grace AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की समवेद भक्त वृंद की समवेद भक्त वृंद की समवेद भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग की गौर प्रेमानंदे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय all can sing in the same meter and the same tune. Kindly take a deep breath. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That's sufficient. 3 times. Abhishek Prabhuji, you have to do something about this mic stand. So, welcome to this evening series of classes on the Srimad Bhagavatam. By deeply meditating on this prayer, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, we are connecting to the absolute truth. So, in order to be connected to the absolute truth, please disconnect yourself from your mobile devices. So, let's chant the Srimad Bhagavatam Mangalacharan prayers and then begin. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Chakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Nama Om Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये भ्रष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपालकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So from today onwards, for the next 4 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, in these 4 days, we will be we'll try to cover and complete what is called as the Bhagavat Dharma series. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, verses 6 to 22. Now, just want to know how many of you who are sitting here in the audience are chanting 16 rounds? Raise your hands. Okay, most of you. How many of you are practicing and chanting 16 rounds for the last 5 years? Raise your hands. Oh, she doesn't look to be 5 year old, but she's raising her hand. Interesting. Okay. So this Bhagavad Dharma is the title given by our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. There's a lot of bass. Can I have to fine tune it? And Srila Prabhupada himself gave this series of lectures in New Vrindavan in 1972. And this was titled as the Bhagavat Dharma series. And it is later on that this lectures were transcribed and now it is in the form of a book. Are they able to hear? Oh, reach. Yeah. So this is in the form of a book. Anyone knows which is that book? It is this book, Dharma, the way of transcendence. So this is just the lectures what Srila Prabhupada gave from Srimad Bhagavatam 1 to 6 to 1 to 22. And it is transcribed and now it is in the form of book. Still, there is some kind of a bass. So this Bhagavad Sarma series is a very important discussion which comes in the Bhagavatam. There is some background disturbance. Somebody, I'm hearing. I think somebody is speaking, So, where was I? This Bhagavad Dharma series is a very, very important discussion which is there in the Bhagavatam, and Srila Prabhupada felt it is important, and that's why he gave discusses on the this particular section. Ideally, it will take around 15 to 20 classes to discuss this, but time doesn't permit. But we will concisely cover the entire discussion from 1 to 6 to 22 verses as a brief overview. The Srimad Bhagavatam background, let me give you the background. The Srimad Bhagavatam, the setting of the scene is that the sages of Naimisharanya are performing a yagya for the people of the Kali Yuga who are going to come in the future because they could foresee the ill effects of Kali Yuga. And that's where Sut Goswami appears. And Vyas is narrating this. So the Bhagavatam opens with Vyas offering his, prayers to the absolute truth in his Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. And the first three verses explain the Sambandha, Videya, and Prayojan. And then he takes us immediately to Naimisharanya, where the sages of Naimisharanya, receive Suta Goswami. And after glorifying Suta Goswami, then they put forth 6 questions. And among these 6 questions, 2 questions are called as what is the seminal questions of the Bhagavatam. Any Purana begins with, tell us glories of Shiva, tell us glories of Brahma, tell us the glories of, Ganesh. But seminal questions means they are just like semen is the essence of a human being. Similarly, seminal question means tell us what is the highest benefit for all humanity. And tell us what is the essence of all dharma, by which the Atma is satisfied. Yenatma suprasiti. So these two questions, which the sages of Naimisharanya ask in 119 and 1111, because they explain that people in Kali Yuga are prayana alpayusha sabbhas. Their lifespan is very, very short. Kalo kalam asmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayo. Even if they have a good lifespan, they are not inquisitive to know about spiritual life because they are manda. Even if they are intelligent and they inquire about spiritual life, sumanda matayo, they are misguided. Manda bhagya. Even if their bhagya is good and they get a right spiritual master, upadrita, they are always troubled by trividatapa. So they cannot practice spiritual life. So this is the situation of Kali Yuga people, and we all have experience of it. So these are the two questions which the sages of Naimisharanya ask. The remaining questions are directly to do with, why did Krishna take birth as a son of Vasudeva and Dharti? They are asking about Krishna. Explain Krishna's Leela avatars, Purusha avatars. And then Krishna is now left to his abode, where is Dharma and Gyan taken shelter. But the first two questions are what are called as the seminal questions of the Bhagavatam. And these two questions are answered in this Bhagavad Dharma series. So that's what is the background uh, of this. So in the second chapter, Vyas narrates that iti samprashta, thus asked by the sages of Naimisha, samrashto. Suta Goswami was extremely pleased with him. And then he begins to answer the six questions. So first of all, he offers his respectful obeisances to his spiritual master, Sukadeva Goswami, in two verses, which are very beautiful verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then he offers this Mangalacharan prayer to the scripture, which we every day in the morning Bhagavatam recite, Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Naruttam. And then he thanks the sages. Munoyo sadhu prushtoham. Oh sages, you have asked wonderful questions. Bhavadbir Lokamangalam, by which the entire Lokamangala is. Because Yat Krishna Samprashna. You have asked questions about Krishna. Yenatma Suprasiddhi, by which everyone will be happy, will be satisfied. So that's how Suta Goswami, after offering his thanks to the sages of Naimisharanya, he begins to answer from 1 to 6. Now, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, repeatedly, right from the first canto till the 12th canto, what has been established is that bhakti is the abhidheya. What has been established in the Srimad Bhagavatam? That bhakti is the abhidheya. Sambandh we have to establish with Krishna, and the abhidheya is bhakti. And that bhakti is what kind of bhakti? Shuddha bhakti, pure devotional service. And right in this chapter, this is the first case study where right at the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, bhakti has been established as the abhidheya by Suta Goswami to the sages of Naimisharanya. In the fourth and the fifth and the sixth chapter, Narad Muni will establish to whom? Vyas. That bhakti is the abhidheya. Later on, in the second canto, Sukdev Goswami, while answering Parikshit Maharaj, in the first three chapters, will establish bhakti as the abhidheya, pure devotional service. And there is that famous verse, Tasmat Bharat Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari Shrotavya Kirti Dhyascha Dheyascha. No. तेयश पूज्य स्मृतगण तस्मात् भारत सर्वात्मा भगवान ईश्वरो हरि श्रोतव्य कीर्तितव्यस्य स्मर्तव्यस्य इच्छता भयम there. So there also Sukhdev Goswami establishes to Parikshit Maharaj that bhakti is the Abhideya. Again in the second canto, it is Narad Muni with Brahma, the conversation which happens. This is there in the fifth, sixth, and the seventh chapter of the second canto. There also bhakti is established as the Abhideya. Again in the second canto, in the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam, Lord Narayan, while teaching Brahma in the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam, he establishes the most confidential teaching of the Bhagavatam, that is pure devotional service. There also bhakti is established as Abhideya. In the third canto, Maitreya, while answering Vidura's questions, also establishes bhakti as Abhideya. And in the Kapil Shiksha, Mother Devahuti and Kapil Dev, this whole conversation which is there in the third canto, 25th chapter to 33 chapters, Kapil Dev establishes what? Bhakti as the Abhideya. In the fourth canto, in the teachings between King Prutu and the four Kumaras establish Bhakti as the Abhideya. And later on, for the Prachetas, Narad, when he preaches to the Prachetas, there also he establishes Bhakti as the Abhideya. Again in the seventh canto, Prahlad Maharaj, when he is preaching to his classmates, he establishes pure devotional service as the Abhideya. And later on in the seventh canto also, Narad Muni establishes Bhakti as Abhideya to King Yudhishthir. Again in the 11th canto, when the Navyogendras and King Nimi Sambad happens, there also Bhakti has been established as Abhideya. And Krishna also establishes Bhakti as Abhideya to Uddhav in the Uddhav Gita. In the 12th canto, Sukhdev Goswami, last instruction to Parikshit Maharaj, there also establishes Bhakti as the Abhideya. And in the last part, that is Sut and Saunak Samvad, which ends the Srimad Bhagavatam there, again Suta Goswami establishes Bhakti as Abhideya. So right from the first canto till the 12th canto, Bhakti has been established as the Abhideya. And for your kind information, this Bhakti which has been established as Abhideya in these various conversations, this Bhakti is Shuddha Bhakti. Whereas in many parts of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is also mixed devotional service described. And thus mixed devotional service is described to understand what is the mixture so that you can take up to pure devotional service. So this is that first series where Bhakti has been established as the Abhideya. So it is very, very important that we thoroughly study, particularly this series, the Bhagavad Dharma series. We repeatedly study, try to understand it, and because it is philosophy, it is very difficult also. And as we study now, you'll find that. Because as long as we don't have the correct knowledge and the correct understanding, we cannot practice. So there is orthodoxy and orthopraxy. So orthodoxy means the philosophy, and then the practices following the philosophy. So if you don't have the right knowledge and the clear understanding of what is pure devotional service, then you will not be able to take up to the practice of pure devotional service. So you have to understand the definition of pure devotional service. And this is what Sut Goswami is going to establish in this series. of discussion. And especially the Bhagavad Dharma series. The Bhagavad Dharma series is there in the form of a story of how a devotee took up to Shuddha Bhakti and perfected his life. And that is there in the Narad Vyas Samvad, which is in the fourth, fifth, and the sixth chapters. So there, this is not Narad Muni. This is Narad Muni in his previous life as a son of a maid servant. So even a son of a maid servant who had no previous qualification, born in a Shudra family, no education, but just coming in touch with the Bhakti Vedantas, who were pure Bhagavats, that you have to remember. He was able to take up to pure devotion service and he perfected his life. So that is a source of inspiration for us. So the philosophical discussion which is there in the Bhagavad Dharma series and the classic example which is of Narad Muni in his previous life as a son of a maidservant. So one should repeatedly study these discussions and then with the clear understanding of the Sambandha Gyan and the philosophical understanding, then when one practices bhakti, then he can attain perfection. So we will begin this discussion now. We will all together recite the verses, and some are explanations which I have given, and some I will be drawing. If you want, you can note down then. Okay. And since for each verse, time doesn't permit us to go into question, answers, and discussion, I'll not be able to take it up. So if you have questions on each of the verses, you note down. Maybe make a mental note or note down. Only at the end of the class, we will take up the questions. Okay. I know even if we start the first verse, you know, major class will go in question answers. But I have, limited time and have to cover these four verses today. But we will give time to question answers also. And later on also, if you have question answers, we can discuss. Okay. So let's begin with this. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakteradokshage ahituk apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So Sut Goswami is answering in this beginning verse that what is the highest benefit, ekantashaya, for all living beings, and what is the essence of all scriptures by which the Atma can be satisfied. So this is answering, and his answer uh, is not exactly only these two verses. The whole discussion till verse 22, and we will see that flow with the flow of the Bhagavatam, how he establishes that. So Savai Pumsan Paro Dharma, the supreme dharma for all human beings, Pumsan, it is mentioned here. Because the dharma in the form of Gyan Yoga or the dharma in the form of Ashtanga Yoga, it's not meant for all human beings. You need to have qualification for it. But for bhakti, you don't need any previous qualification. For Gyan and Ashtanga, you have to be self-realized. You should have performed Nishkama Karma Yoga and you should have become a Sthita Pragya. You should have been a self-realized person. Then you can take up to the path of Gyan Sadhana or Ashtanga Sadhana. There is adhikar required. For bhakti, to take up to bhakti, there is no adhikar required. The only adhikar is that you should be a human being. Narmatrasya. And the glory of bhakti is that even jivas and animal species also can practice and attain perfection. That is the glory of bhakti. So that's why Savai Pumsa, the supreme dharma for all living beings. Paro dharma. Paro dharma or para dharma. This para has become paro here in the verse. Now please note down that the supreme dharma for all living beings is sadhana bhakti. And sadhana bhakti has been said to be what? Parodharma. So sadhana bhakti means Shuddha bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means what? Shuddha bhakti. Yato bhaktir adokshaje. Yator bhaktir adokshaje means is that by which prema bhakti to the Lord arises. Now please understand this. Second line of the verse. Bhakti here in the second line means prema bhakti. Bhakti in the second line here means what? Bhakti means prema bhakti. So when you will get prema bhakti when you practice sadhana bhakti. So sadhana bhakti leads to prema bhakti or sadhana bhakti leads to sadhya bhakti. Sadhana bhakti leads to sadhya bhakti. So yato bhaktir, bhakti here means sadhya bhakti. As in the famous verse, Shraddha Rati Bhaktir Anu Kramashyati in the Kapil Dev. So there Shraddha means asakti and Rati means Rati, which is Bhava. And Shraddha Ratir Bhakti Anu Kramashyati. There Bhakti means Prema Bhakti. Asakti, Bhava and Prema. So similarly here, Paro Dharma means Sadhana Bhakti. And Bhakti means Prema Bhakti. Both sadhana bhakti is also Shuddha bhakti, prema bhakti is also Shuddha bhakti. Don't get puzzled. Both are pure. So I distinguish this just for your understanding. So I call this sadhana bhakti as Shuddha sadhana bhakti. As what? Shuddha sadhana bhakti. So only if you take to Shuddha sadhana bhakti, pure devotional service sadhana bhakti, then that's Shuddha sadhana bhakti leads to what? Prema bhakti. I hope it is clear. And that is why this bhakti is a hetuki, which is not caused by anything other than itself. A hetuki cannot be obstructed, apratihata, and which satisfies the mind completely. Yenatma su prasidati. Okay, so now we'll go into a little detail of this verse. So I'm just summarizing what Srila Prabhupada in his purport speaks. So Srila Prabhupada, maybe this is a little cutting, so yeah. Srila Prabhupada mentions there are different types of dharma. There is para dharma and apara dharma. There is para vidya and apara vidya. Para vidya refers to pure devotional service, and apara vidya refers to mixed devotional service or the devotional service within the varnashram. And within that, aparadharma, there is the pravritti marg and the nivritti marg. The pravritti marg is the path of sense enjoyment, dharma, artha, kama, leading up to swarga or up to satyaloka. But the nivritti marg is the path of renunciation, which is the path of Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, which ultimately leads to liberation. So Prabhupada explains that there is superior dharma and inferior dharma. So the can you all keep your mobiles in silent, please? There is the path of enjoyment and the path of renunciation. There is superior and inferior. And the inferior is the path of sense enjoyment, dharma, artha, kama. But Prabhupada says superior is the path of renunciation. But there he establishes that the topmost dharma is paradharma, which is pure devotional service. Because this path of renunciation for liberation has a hetu. And the hetu is what? That I want to attain liberation. But the topmost supreme superior dharma is pure devotional service, where it is performed without any motivation for dharma, artha, kama, or moksha. And this is right in the Bhagavatam in the second verse established. Dharma projita kaitava paramo nirmatsaranam satam. So Prabhupada right in this purport establishes that this superior, supreme duty or occupation for all living beings is to take up to pure devotional service. And that's why he defines that the pure devotional service means there is no other desire except the desire to please the Lord. So this is how Prabhupada explains. And of course, we have added this adharma, that is the path of enjoyment without following the Vedas. This leads to hell. So there, like that, there are these three divisions you can see. And Sut Goswami in this 1 to 6 is speaking about which type of dharma? Paradharma, which is sadhana bhakti leading to sadhya bhakti. Sadhana bhakti leading to sadhya bhakti. Okay, again we'll recite this verse. Save pumsan paro dharmo yato bhaktiradokshage ahityak apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So, does anyone have a watch? I want to see the time because it's here at this side. Okay. Can you give me a watch, somebody? So, I don't know whether I'll be able to draw. Okay. I'm just trying to explain what I spoke. So, Sut Goswami is saying there is what is called as para dharma. And this para dharma is what? Sadhana bhakti. The sadhana bhakti. And this sadhana bhakti leads to what? Prema bhakti. Yato bhaktir adokshaji. Prema bhakti. Now, as I was mentioning, that I am terming this sadhana bhakti as what? Shuddha sadhana bhakti. Shuddha sadhana bhakti. So Shuddha sadhana bhakti leads to sadhya bhakti. And within sadhya bhakti there is bhava bhakti and then there is prema bhakti. Of course, in one sense there is no difference between bhava bhakti and prema bhakti. Bhava is just a, amsh or suryamsh, a ray of prema bhakti. So why I'm making this distinction is because we have to understand the Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. So if there is something called as Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti, there is something called as also what? Ashuddha Sadhana Bhakti. There is something called as Ashuddha Sadhana Bhakti. So we have to attain the qualification to practice what? Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. We have to attain the qualification to practice what? Shuddha Sadhana. Because the definition of Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti is it is ahetuki, it is apratihata. Apratihata means it is not interrupted. It is not interrupted at any point of time. That means the connection with the Lord or through the 9 limbs or the 64 limbs of Vaidhi Bhakti doesn't get connected at all. If it gets disconnected, then you break the principle of what? Apratihata. Or in Rupa Goswami's definition, Anushilanam. Anushilanam means continuous, without any break. And Ahetuki means Anya Abhilashita Shunya. So as long as there is any material desire in the heart, whether it be desire for bhakti or mukti, till then our bhakti is what? Mishra. It is Mishra. So only when we get the qualification where we fulfill this criteria, Anya Abhilashita Shunya, and we don't pursue any action except the action to please the Lord. I hope you understand the statement. Mm. Because we can do actions based on our nature, which is called as conditioned nature, which is called as Svabhava. But if we do these actions are not bhakti, these are karma. And we can offer them to Krishna. But that bhakti is not called as Shuddha Bhakti. It is karma arpanam. I'll give you a very simple example to understand, because it's a little deep subject, but we'll make it very simple to make you understand. Now, suppose, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, the pujari, calls up some Mataji or Prabhuji. Prabhuji, please come today for Jagannath, please make shak and rice offering. So they come to the altar kitchen and get the ingredients, wash them, cook them, prepare the plate, and they give it to the pujari. Here is it. And they go back. They have done the service for the Lord. So there is another case that at home the devotee wants to have pizza. I'm taking the example pizza because you can easily relate. So you prepare the pizza, you get the ingredients, you prepare the pizza, and after making the pizza, you offer it to in your home deities Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and then you have the pizza. Okay. Now both these activities look similar, but is there any difference? Who will tell us? Let us see. Raise your hands. One, two, three. Let us hear from the Matajis. Would like to answer? What is the difference between both the activities? Anyone would like to try? Yes, Mataji. Yes, yes. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु मैं हिंदी में बोलूंगी। हाँ बोलिए। प्रभु जहाँ पे जब मंदिर पे बनाया तो भगवान को ऑफर करने के बनाया, लेकिन जो घर में बनाया वो अपने स्वार्थ के लिए बनाया। So the difference is that Jagannath's desire is expressed through the pujari, that Jagannath wants to have rice and shak. And to please Jagannath, you come, all the actions what you do of cooking, washing, cleaning the vegetables and then, making the preparation, all that activity constitutes bhakti. And you don't have any desire from the pujari that, after it is offered, please offer it to me also. On the other hand, I have a desire to eat pizza. I have a desire to eat pizza. So I go to the shop, buy the ingredients, cook. All these actions are not at all bhakti. They are simply karma. They are what? Karma. And after preparing the pizza, you offer it. You do karma and you do arpanam. Then it becomes bhakti, and that bhakti is Mishra Bhakti. That bhakti is what? Mishra Bhakti. So, as long as we have the subtle conditioning of the Sabhava, till then, our bhakti remains what? Mixed. So, when one takes to sadhana bhakti, he is a Shuddha Bhakta. Bhakti leads to what? Bhakti. Bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya. So, one bhakti is called as sadhana bhakti, other bhakti is called as prema bhakti or sadhya bhakti. There is no difference between the two. So, when one takes to Shuddha sadhana bhakti, he is a pure devotee. That Shuddha sadhana bhakti leads to prema bhakti. It's just a stage. It's just a stage. Just like an unripe mango turns into a ripe mango. At one particular time stage, it is unripe, and that's why it is called as sadhana bhakti. At some point, it is sadhya bhakti. It is ripe. So in the sadhana bhakti, a person who is taken up to sadhana bhakti, he is Shuddha, he is pure. He is situated on the transcendental platform. And that's why Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kanch. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labate para. Para bhakti begins from there. Para bhakti begins from there. So, this example I gave of the ripe and unripe mango, there is also an example of, childhood, youth, and old age. These are just the stages of the age he goes through, a person. But the person is the same. But this is not the case with, uncooked rice and cooked rice. Or this is not the case with mud and pot. Mud and pot. The mud transforms into a pot. It no more remains as what? Mud. You don't say, oh, go and get the mud. You say, you go and get the pot. So, sadhana bhakti and sadha bhakti, there is absolutely no difference. It's just one stage. It's unripe mango, it turns immediately to ripe mango. Both are pure. So, this is what, Sudha Goswami is trying to establish in this verse. And this bhakti, as I was mentioning, is also being established by Yamaraj in this verse. एतावानेव लोकेस्मिन् पुंसां धर्म परास्मृत भक्ति योगो भगवती तन्नाम ग्रहणादिभिः. This is the only means. Etavan eva. For attainment was the final perfection of life. Dharma para. Dharma para here refers to para bhakti, the supreme occupation for all people. Therefore, persons, loke asmin pumsan, whose minds are fixed on the Lord, smrita bhagavati, engage in intensive practice of devotional service. Bhakti yoga tan nam grahanadibi. So, bhakti yoga, if somebody is practicing bhakti yoga, means he's only doing hearing and chanting, no other business. Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita commentary to 12.9 and 12.10, he mentions what is sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. He says Vaidhi sadhana bhakti means you get up for Mangalarti and you attend Mangalarti, and after Mangalarti you sit and chant your rounds, and after that you hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, after that you cook for the Lord, and after that you serve the Lord, and after that you have the prasadam, and you do this constant engagement. It's not that after the Mangalarti and the Bhagavatam you go to office. That means you are doing continuously devotional service without any break. That is what constitutes sadhana bhakti. That are the limbs of sadhana bhakti. But when you do karma, and that karma you offer to Krishna, then it becomes what? Mishra bhakti. So it doesn't mean that I'm doing Mishra bhakti, so I cannot take up to Shuddha bhakti. No, as we practice Mishra bhakti and we offer the fruits to Krishna, we get purified. And gradually the conditionings of the effects of the modes come down. And when the Swabhav is completely purified, then we have no interest. Nivritta sarva karmasu. We are disgusted completely with doing any material activities. And we just want to do engagement in devotional service. That deep conviction, that deep faith in the scriptures, and that level of advancement when you have attained, then you get qualified for practicing sadhana bhakti. So we go through these two stages. One is called as Ashuddha sadhana bhakti, and the second is Shuddha sadhana bhakti. So Suta Goswami is establishing that the supreme dharma for all human beings is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means Shuddha, pure devotional service, which is called as Sadhana Bhakti and Sadhya Bhakti, or Sadhana Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So this is what he establishes. Now, very another interesting point is this Bhakti is a hetuki. A hetuki, it is said. A hetuki means it doesn't have any cause. It is causeless or self-causative. Bhakti only causes bhakti. So this also is been established by all the acharyas. And there is an argument like how do we attain bhakti? We attain bhakti by the association of devotees, you might say. But sadhu sangha is the anga of bhakti. How can you say that bhakti is attained by sadhu sangha? No, bhakti might be attained by doing charity, pious work, austerity, tapasya, dana, dharma, vrata, and all by doing these pious activities. Does that cause bhakti? But these are all material and these are part of karma. And karma can lead to jnana, which is in the mode of goodness. But that cannot lead to bhakti because bhakti is what completely transcendental. Bhakti is the Sarup Shakti of the Lord. So neither pious activities can lead to bhakti, Then what about the Lord's mercy? What is the cause of bhakti? The Lord's mercy. If that is the case, then the Lord is not merciful because not everyone is practicing bhakti. The Lord is unjust, he is prejudiced. Then if you say the cause of bhakti is the mercy of the devotees, and there are these two kinds of devotees, the Uttam Adhikaris and the Madhyam Adhikaris. The Uttam Adhikaris don't distinguish between anyone. They see everyone equally. So they are also not qualified to give bhakti. But it is only the Madhyam Adhikari. He can distinguish, between the Lord, between the devotee, the innocent, and the envious. So the Lord's mercy flows in the heart of the Madhyam Adhikari. And wherever the Madhyam Adhikari feels mercy and compassion and bestows bhakti to someone, bhakti a person gets. And that mercy and compassion, what he shows, is also what? Coming from where? From the Lord only. From the Lord only it is coming. But it is transmitted through a Madhyamadhikari. Because the Madhyamadhikari distinguishes. He can distinguish what? Prema, Maitri, Karuna, Kripa and Upeksha. He does this. And he can bestow bhakti. And this bhakti is there in the heart of the Madhyamadhikari and he bestows to others. So, in that sense, bhakti still remains causeless because bhakti only gives rise to bhakti. And we might not philosophically understand this, but everyone has experience of this during the COVID. How one person was transmitting the COVID symptoms to others. So similarly, the Madhyamadhikari who is carrying the compassion of the Lord, and when he feels mercy, he bestows that bhakti those who come in touch with him. So even the Lord cannot bestow bhakti in this world. It's only his pure devotees who can bestow bhakti. That is the glory of bhakti. In that sense, the Lord, the devotee, the Madhyamadhikari, the bhakti and the mercy are all interconnected. They are not separate. But this establishes that what? Bhakti is ahetuki. Bhakti is ahetuki. And as I was mentioning, apratihata. Apratihata means should be uninterrupted. Should uninterrupted. So this is the verse. Mad gunashruti matrena mai sarva guhashaya manogatir avichanna yatha gangambasambado. Just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean. Yatha Ganga Ambaso Abbudo, such devotional ecstasy, Mad Guna Shruti Matrina, uninterrupted by any material condition, Manogatir Avichanna, flows towards the Supreme Lord. Mai Sarva Guasha. So, this verse very clearly mentions what is the qualification who is practicing Shuddha Bhakti. That his mind doesn't flow to anything material. It just flows only towards Krishna. Now, why the mind flows towards any material things in this world? It is because of the samskars, the impressions in the subtle body. And that is why there is attraction to the material world. and the material things and the material objects. But this kind of a devotee, his mind doesn't flow towards anything material, it only flows towards Krishna. Just as the Ganges, when it starts hmm, there in the Himalayas, Gomukh, right? From there, it straight flows towards what? The ocean. And the Ganga cannot be obstructed by any external impediments. No big rocks, huge trees. The Ganga breaks that and flows. So one thing is there about the Ganga that no external impediments can stop its flow, nor the river holds on something for herself. 100% that offering is there. And that is what is called as Sarvadharman Parityaj. So this is the qualification of somebody who is practicing Shuddha Bhakti. And this is at the stage of sadhana. And this kind of sadhana bhakti leads to sadhya bhakti. So this is what is being established here by Sutta Goswami. Now let's go to the next verse. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janityashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yad Ahetukam. Now again it is very interesting. This verse is explaining Vasudeve Bhagavati. Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. Bhakti Yoga dedicated to Lord Krishna, Vasudeva Bhagavati. Endowed with special moods, Prayojita. Prayojita here means that Bhakti which has attained Prayojan. Bhakti which has attained Prayojan. And what is the term I use for Prayojan or Sadhana Bhakti? What I said when it gets right, it said Sadhya Bhakti. And within Sadhya Bhakti, I said there are two divisions. What is it? Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So, Bhakti to Vasudev, which has attained the stage of Bhava Bhakti. Are you getting this point? By the practice of Sadhana Bhakti, you have attained the goal. That is Sadhya Bhakti. And within Sadhya Bhakti, I said what it is? Bhava Bhakti. So only in the stage of Bhava Bhakti, we are situated in Rasa with Krishna. That is why it is mentioned endowed with special moods. Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhuri. So only when sadhana bhakti reaches its goal, prayojan of sadhya, specifically bhava bhakti here, then what? Janeti ashu vairagyam. Quickly produces detachment from material goals and knowledge of the Lord, devoid of desire for liberation. Jnanam cha yad ahetukam. Now, I have been wondering since last 20 years that I'm trying to practice bhakti. I have not attained any detachment of this material world. And I was wondering, but we are practicing bhakti. But this verse is saying what? Janeti asho vara. Very quickly, one attains what? Detachment. So, what is the reason? I was also thinking, what is the reason that we have been, at least I'm speaking about myself that I'm practicing bhakti, but I've not attained any detachment from this world. You know, I don't know about you all, but I'm speaking for myself. Then I realized after studying this verse that bhakti has not attained what? Prayojan. Forget that bhakti attaining prayojan. That bhakti has to begin with what? Shuddha sadhana bhakti. Because Shuddha sadhana bhakti very quickly produces sadhya bhakti. Very quickly. So only when our bhakti attains prayojan, very immediately you develop complete detachment and what? Knowledge. Now, knowledge means knowledge about the Lord's name, forms, qualities, and pastimes. Knowledge here doesn't mean Gyan doesn't mean that which leads to liberation. That is why Sut Goswami says, Jnanam cha yad ahetukam. This Gyan is a hetu. There is no hetu in it. Whereas the Gyanis who practice Gyan, they have a hetu. What is their hetu? To attain liberation. But this Gyan is Jnanam cha yad hetukam. So now we are all attaining Gyan. Yes? About Bhakti. But this Gyan is Bhagavat Sambandha Gyan. Because by this Gyan, you will attain more devotion. And with that devotion, you will practice more devotion. And with that devotion, you will get more devotion. And with that, you will get more devotion. So this Gyan doesn't lead to what? Liberation. So that is why Suta Goswami says, Jnanam cha yad ahetukam. So this is a very, very important verse. And how do we know that our bhakti has attained prayojan? So this is the verse again from the Uddhav Gita. Bhakti paraishanubhava viraktiranyatra chaishtri ekakala prapadyamanasya yatashnatashus tushti pushti shud apayanughasam. So here bhakti means again what? Sadhya bhakti. Because only in Sadhya bhakti para isha anubhav. There is direct experience of the Lord's name, fame, qualities, and pastimes. Only that produces what? Virakti, complete detachment. Virakti anyatra chaisha trika ekakala. So, bhakti, para isha anubhav, and what? Virakti. These are the three things. Bhakti here means what? Not Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti, it is Bhava Bhakti or Prema Bhakti. And there is Isha Anubhav, direct experience of the Lord. And then there is what? Virakti. And just like with the morsel of food, there is what? Tushti, Pushti, and Shuddhapayan. Shuddhapayan means the hunger is mitigated with every morsel. So all these three things happen simultaneously. Yes? So we all have experience while taking prasad. If we are feeling hungry, then when we take prasad, our hunger is mitigated. There is satisfaction, and then there is what? Pushti. If you're feeling weak, you gain strength, right? And especially on a Ekadasi day, you'll feel that next day, right? You become weak, right? You get pushti. So all the three things happen. So this is the experience one has to get. So here that Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojan refers to Bhakti Yoga which has attained Prayojan, which is endowed with the mood of Dhasya Sakya Vatsalya and Madhurya Bhavas. This kind of knowledge, Janeti Ashu, very quickly produces Jnanam and Virakti. That is what Sutta Goswami says in this verse. Okay, now we take the next verse. Dharma Sanishthita Pumsan Vishwaksena Katasuya Notpadayet Yadiratim Shama Eva Hi Kevalam. Now, Sut Goswami has established in two verses that what is the highest benefit for all humanity? Ekantashray. And What is the essence of all scriptures? The essence of all scriptures is they should practice what? Bhakti. And practice bhakti means what? What? Shuddha sadhana bhakti. You have to come to that point. So he has established in these two verses. Now this is called in Sanskrit as establishing a thing by positive inference, which is called as anvaya. Now the same thing he establishes by negative inference, which is called as vyatirik. So he establishes that this is not Shuddha Bhakti. When you say this is not, then you understand what it is. Like when I eat, especially here we are in Bangalore, and Mysore Pak is very famous, right? But you have been eating Mysore Pak which is not made of pure ingredients. There's no pure ghee in it. And the ingredients are not pure. So if you've been tasting Mysore Pak and you think that, oh, this is the taste of Mysore Pak, but somebody really prepares pure Mysore Pak with pure ingredients and pure ghee. And when you taste it, wow, what is this? He said, this is Mysore Pak. No, I've tasted Mysore Pak for a long time. No, no, this is real pure Mysore Pak. So similarly, when you cook halwa, you need the right ingredients. There has to be rava, there has to be ghee, there have to be dry fruits. And with the right ingredients, you have to have the right process. You should know the right process. And when you follow the process, then you get halwa, right? But if your ingredients are not right, instead of rava, you have rice, you're not going to get halwa. So the ingredients of pure devotional service is anya bilashita shunyam. So you have to have that. So the tatastha lakshana is anya bilashita shunyam and jnana karmadya amritam. So when you qualify for both these criteria, then your ingredients are pure. And when ingredients are pure and you follow the process, abhidheya, which is called as abhidheya, which is what we are discussing, then that will lead to what? Prayojan, Shuddha Halwa or Shuddha Mysore Pak. So two things are there. The ingredients have to be pure and the right process. So that is what Shuddha Goswami. Now he's establishing by what? Negative influence, Vyatirik. What is not Shuddha Bhakti? He's establishing that Varnashram is not Shuddha Bhakti. And that's why he's saying Varnashram of a human being, Dharma Swanishtita Pumsa, which does not produce attraction, Nod Padayet Yadi Rati. For topics of Lord, Vishwaksena Katasuya is only wasted effort. Shama eva hi kevalam. So if somebody says Varnashram is Shuddha Bhakti, Sut Goswami is, negating that. No. If you are situated in Varnashram and you do not develop attraction for hearing the Lord's topics, then all your following of Varnashram is what? Shama. After saying Shama, he doesn't stop. Eva, certainly he says. After that, he doesn't stop. He says, very certainly. And it is Kevalam, he says. It's completely a waste of time. So with three of these, adjectives, he establishes that it is completely a waste of time. You meticulously do all your varnashram duties, but situated in your varnashram, if you don't develop rati, attraction for hearing the Lord topics, then your life is a waste. So here, let us try to understand this. We are situated in three bodies. One is the soul, which is spiritual. Then there is the subtle body. And then there is the gross body. So the subtle body is where our swabhava, our conditioned nature is there. You know, We have unlimited impressions and we are born with a particular nature, prakriti, swabhava. Now, how do I know what type of actions I'm inclined to? Everyone in this world is inclined to a particular kind of actions to do, right? Somebody wants to be a businessman, somebody wants to be a scientist, somebody wants to be, so many things, right? Everyone has a particular mental inclination. So, if one wants to know what is his swabhava, see what type of activities he is inclined to. Swakarma. So, from the swakarma, one can understand what? One's swabhava. If somebody is inclined to do business, then his nature is of a Vaishya, right? Yes, that's his swabhava. And based on that, the Varnashram has the Brahmana, Dharma, Kshatriya, and the Vaishya. Correct? So this is Varnashram. But devotional service is the service of the soul towards the supreme soul. Right? This is pure devotional service. So although we come in touch with bhakti and we start the practice of bhakti, but the what? The conditioned nature is there, right? And this conditioned nature has to be purified. And when we are completely purified of the conditioned nature and being situated transcendently, then the soul's natural nature to perform pure devotional service begins. So Varnashram is the best vehicle to take up to pure devotional service. Because situated in Varnashram, one leads a pure life and doesn't commit any sins. And being situated in that kind of a atmosphere, you're naturally inclined for philosophical discourses, you're naturally leading a dharmic life. So you're naturally respectful to sadhus and you're hearing Harikatha. And hearing such Harikatha, you will develop attraction for Harikatha. And being situated in a Varnashram, you continue to hear Harikatha. And when your faith is completely deep, and you're no more interested in doing any material activities. At that time, you can give up and completely take up to what? Only pure devotional service. Tavat karmani kurvita, what? Nirvinna na nirvidyete yavata. Mat kata shavanado shraddhayavan na jayate. In the Uddhav Gita, Krishna says. Tavat karmani kurvita. Means you do your activities, as long as what? You're not disgusted with material activities. And hearing my kata, mat kata shavanado, your faith has not fully matured. Shraddha yavan najayat. So here this Shraddha, the Acharyas explain, this Shraddha means this is Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Sudrida Nishchay. Krishna Bhakti Kale Sarva Karma Krita. Now if I tell some of the devotees here, I'm speaking of the congregation, okay, don't worry about your family. Krishna will take care. Just come in the temple and stay. Krishna will take care of your maintenance of your family. Will you have that much faith that Krishna will take care? No, I have to take care of my family. You know. So because that faith, that deep faith, or forget about this. Even if I'm going from one city to another city, and I don't make any arrangement for my food, prasad, no calling any devotee and telling, please get me there. No, I'll just do my bhajan. Krishna will take care. How many of us have that kind of faith? Ananyaschintayanto mam ye jana paripasate tesham nitya abhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. So this is Ananya Bhakti. Ananya means na anya. Na anya means not worshipping anyone else except the Lord, not worshipping any gods. Ananya also means not taking up any other path like karma, jnana, ashtanga, but only practicing bhakti yoga. And Ananya means that the mind doesn't go to any other thought except Krishna. That is Ananya Bhakti. So we all come to Krishna consciousness and start practicing Krishna consciousness. But we have our conditioned nature. And as far as possible, we should do the core devotional activities more and more, like hearing and chanting, attending, doing the deity worship, or reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. These are all Navida Bhakti. But at the same time, we do conditional activities for the maintenance of the body and all. And we have our, sabhava. So all these activities should go parallelly. And the more we hear Harikatha, the more we get attracted to Harikatha, the conditional activities will gradually subside. And when we develop complete attraction to Harikatha and we have, taken care of all our maintenance, means maintenance because Sabha means conditions, body means, taking care of the maintenance of the body and all other aspects. And we have developed that complete faith in Krishna. Then what happens? Then there is, entry door for what? Practice of Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. So that is what uh, is a little explanation I'm just giving. But what Sut Goswami is establishing here is that Varnashram, if you are practicing according to your Swabhava and you have not developed Harikatha, taste for Harikatha, then all your practice of Varnashram is what? Shrama Evahi Kevalam. Let's take this last verse and complete. Just 2 minutes. Let's recite. Dharmasya hi apavaragasya dharto arthay upakalpate dhartasya dharma ekantasya kamo labhaya hi smrita. So this is a very interesting verse. Dharmasya hi apavargasya. Material results in earth are not suitable. Upakalpate as a goal. Arthaya. Artha means, the results. Artha can mean also goal. Artha means also wealth. Artha means the meaning of the word. So in the different contexts, the word will meaning will change. For a person dedicated to the higher spiritual goals, dharmasa hi apavargasya. Attainment of material assets, arthasya, is not the desire of a person, kamo labha hi smrita, who is dedicated to the higher path, dharma ekantasya. So what this verse is saying, that dharma in the form of hearing and chanting. Dharma in the form of what? Hearing and chanting. Dharmasya hi apavarga. Apavarga here means prema bhakti. Apavarga here means what? Prema bhakti. Or dharma can also mean for the jnanis and yogis. They are also aiming what? Liberation. They are also aiming what? Liberation. That's also called as apavarga, yes? So those who are have this higher goal in mind. So they are what? Dharma ekanta. They are one pointed. Dharma ekantasya. So it is a natural thing that when you follow dharma, artha and kama will come. Even if you are practicing bhakti, artha and kama will come. Please remember that. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying what? Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadish kami. Now it is not coming, so you don't realize it. But when you start practicing Shuddha Bhakti, it will start coming. you know, following will start coming automatically. Wealth will start coming. So when wealth comes, then the tendency is what? To earth comes, then what will we do? Kam. So that's why na artha arthaya upakalpate. Kamo labha hi smrita. It is not. So dharma, artha, kama and moksha. These go step by step. But one who is dharma ekantasya, one who is dharma ekantasya, he knows that artha is not meant for kama. Whereas one who is in the varnashram, he does dharma, from dharma comes artha, from artha comes what? Kama. And after kama is fulfilled, again he does what? Dharma. So he follows this cycle. But one with the goal of apavarga, he what? He performs sadhana bhakti with the goal for attaining sadhya bhakti. That is apavarga for a devotee. And for a jnani or a yogi, the jnani practices yama and niyam with the desire to attain liberation. There is hetu but still. And the yogi also does yama and niyam with a desire to attain liberation. But please remember, both the jnani and the yogi don't fall to the trap of what? Artha and kama. That's the point here. That's why by negative inference, Sudha Goswami is going to prove in this series of verses. So here I put dharma, shama, dama for the jnani, yama and niyam for the yogis, hearing and chanting for devotees. Apavarga is liberation for the jnani and yogi, and from a prema bhakti for the devotee. So the jnanis and yogis, that's why they are detached from this world. And that's why they don't want to, accept anything from this material because it will entangle this. They might use something which comes, you know, in the service, what is required for bare maintenance. But they are always detached because they know that it can entangle us. But the devotees use all material assets for the service of the Lord and His devotees. So that's how they use all the artha, what comes in the Lord's service. So this is what Sut Goswami is discussing here. Now, this is the last verse. Now, those who follow the Varnashram, as a matter of etiquette, because they are dharmic, they go and hear from the sadhus. It doesn't mean that they have attachment to Krishna Katha. Just like a farmer in the Vedic times, he's doing agriculture, but he shows a lot of affection for the king because the land is owned by the king and he pays taxes. He shows affection for the king, but he has no affection for the king. He has affection for what? Land and what he can do. So those who are in the Varnashram, they might show that they have attachment for Harikatha, but that might not be genuine. It might not be genuine. Only when there is pure affection for the Lord, pure attachment to hearing Harikatha, then only he is said to be what? A pure devotee. So that's why Prahlad Maharaj says this. Aham tu akamas tvad bhaktas cha swami anapashraya nanye tatahayor artho rajasevakayoriva. I am your servant. Aham tu tvad bhaktas. Not desiring benefits, akamas, and you are my master. Tvam cha swami. Without dependence on service. Tvam eva swami. Our relation should not be anything else. Na anyata havayor artho. Like that of a king and a servant. Raja sevakayor eva. So this is the pure, relationship with the devotee. He always considers as what? Kainkari. I am the servant. So this devotee has what? Attachment for Harikatha. Whereas one who's in the Varnashram, he might show attachment to Harikatha. He might show, just like a farmer might show affection for the king. But it doesn't mean that he has real affection. That is not genuine. Only when there is a pure, genuine affection, then it is said to be that he has what? He is situated in Varnashram, but he is practicing pure devotional service. You can't be situated in the Varnashram and practice pure devotional service. But you need not be situated in Varnashram, still you can practice pure devotional service. But the point is, Varnashram can be the best vehicle where you can practice pure devotional service. Because that environment is conducive for hearing and chanting. That is the point. Okay. So I'll stop here. And the next series of verses are connected, which we will discuss tomorrow. So any questions you have? We have few minutes. We can take up. Can you give the mic? One, two. Any other questions anyone has? Yes, Prabhuji.
Sure. Really, my question is that, as you said, detachment will come at the level of Bhagavat,
Hmm.
and we are not even one setting.
No,
Like,
don't mix two questions. You ask one question for one topic.
yeah. So, as you said, first we have to come to Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti,
Hmm.
then come to Bhava Bhakti, or Prema Bhakti.
Hmm.
Then we get Alex with the Krishna,
Yes.
and then detachment everything comes. Uh, so when we are, as you said, Komil Bhakti, Dev Bhakti, many elements will come.
Hmm.
So before reaching Bhava Bhakti, how to pay this?
You don't worry about that now. You worry about how to come to the platform of practicing Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. That should be our this. Okay. You have to understand what are the ingredients which are impure and how we can have the pure ingredients. So once you come to Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti, then the path itself is self-revealing. And whatever obstacle comes, how to overcome those obstacles, that will be revealed by the study of the scriptures, by the teaching of the acharyas and everything. But we have to understand that how to come to the platform of practicing of Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. That's the point. I also wanted to make one point that when I explained this last verse of Prahlad Maharaj, Rupa Goswami mentions the 64 limbs of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And there he makes a point that there is difference between Kainkaryam and Karmarpanam. Kainkaryam and Karmarpanam. Karmarpanam is not a limb or it is not considered part of Vaidhi Bhakti, he says. You know? So within the Varnashram, you might be, doing deity worship, chanting the mantras, and you're doing all other duties. So all those other things what you do, you know, they are not what? They are karmarpan. So they are not considered what? Vaidhi Bhakti. So he makes that distinction. Whereas Kainkaryam means what? I am doing it as a servant. I'm doing as a servant. So when we do that in that consciousness, then it is considered what? Vaidhi sadhana. I'll give you a simple example to understand this. Let's say there is someone who is a businessman here and he's got a business setup. He sits on the chair, the office says, MD post, but next to him is the DT of Balaji or Krishna or whatever it is, no? Any Vishnu. And he's sitting as the servant and he's doing all that business for the Lord. But he's doing in that consciousness. So then all his actions, what he is doing are not karma, but it is bhakti. But he should be at that level of consciousness. Or a person who's working in the factory. He's working in the factory. Prabhupada mentions in the Gita commentary in the 18th chapter that a person who's working in the factory, he's a sannyasi because he doesn't work for his maintenance. He works for the maintenance of the deities in his home. And he considers that the lords are the deities and all others in the family are their servants. And I'm also the servant of the Lord. So I work not for my family maintenance, I work for my maintenance of the deities. So with this consciousness, when one is even working in the factory, he's acting as on the level of what? Kainkaryam. So this is, you can understand, a very advanced level of consciousness. So that is the point, Kainkaryam. We have to come to that point of Kainkaryam. That Kainkaryam means, you realize that you're a what? Spirit soul. So you should be situated on the transcendental platform. As long as you have some upadhi that I am a businessman or I am a so and so, that is upadhi not related to the soul. It is to the body and the mind. So till then there is what? Mixture. It is mixed because of the conditioning of this above. So we have to distinguish between the two, understand, and then come to the platform of Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. Is it okay? One more question. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. I have two questions.
One by one.
First question. So, like, Bhagavat, like the perfection of devotees, how they are in perfection. So, in certain section, there's a lot of jnana and Ashtanga yoga processes. Like, they merge one element into another element, they balance the air, and there's just some focus given on the self. Like, he realized that I'm Atma and the Prabhu is sitting within this material elements.
Which section? Which section you are speaking about?
Like for example, how Risumara did, or like different sections. And
You'll have to be specific which section you'll have to tell because there are different aspects discussed in the Bhagavatam and all are not the same.
uh, for example, like Risumara, how Yudhishthira Maharaj did.
That is in the first canto, Yudhishthira Maharaj.
Uh,
So,
so like how so there are certain verses which talks about like but Kapil Muni in certain verses he said bhakti jnana vairagya. He said you have bhakti with jnana and vairagya, and then he continues.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what lessons we take?
I got your point. I got your point. Basically, that is what I began the class with. That first of all, you have to very clearly understand that in the Bhagavatam, what has been established is Shuddha Bhakti. And I mentioned that there are many places in the Bhagavatam where there is mixed devotional service discussed. So why the Bhagavatam, which kicks out all these Kaitava Dharma, mixed devotion also, why is then mixed devotion so much discussed in the Bhagavatam? It is discussed for us so that we can understand what is mixed devotional service and what is pure devotional service to distinguish. So in many instances, like in the second canto, there is Bhakti Mishra Yoga described. Kapil Dev discusses, first in the 25th chapter, Sadhya Bhakti, Bhakti which has attained perfection. And then he discusses Jnana and how to attain liberation by Jnana, 26 and 27. 28th chapter, he discusses Ashtanga Yoga and how you can attain liberation by Ashtanga Yoga. Then after hearing all these paths, Devoti says that I feel Bhakti Yoga is practical. Now give me more details about Bhakti Yoga. So then Kapil Dev starts discussing not Bhakti Yoga first. That is Shuddha, pure devotional service. He discusses what is mixed devotional service first. And after discussing mixed devotional service, Satviki Bhakti, Rajasiki Bhakti, and Tamasiki Bhakti, then he describes what is Nirgun Bhakti. Nirgun Bhakti. So there are different, mixtures. And only when you understand these different mixtures and you come out and understand what is really pure devotional service, then when you have that right understanding and with that right understanding you start practicing, then you go in the right goal. Even Krishna does the same thing in the Gita. Don't think that the middle six chapters discuss Bhakti Yoga. The middle six chapters, 95% is discussed as mixed devotional service. There are only 7-8 verses where Krishna speaks about pure devotional service. And he compares that with mixed devotional service and the glory of pure devotional service. And he establishes Ananya Bhakti. Krishna uses the term in the Gita, Ananya Bhakti there. And there are only few verses 7.1, 8.14, 9.22, 10.55, and then in the 11th chapter, no, 10.8, 9, 10 and 11, the Chaturshloki, of course. And then there is 11.54, Bhaktya to Ananya Shakya. And in the 12th chapter, it is 12.8. Of course, 6 and 7 he establishes that, and 12.8, and then directly the qualities of the pure devotees from 12.12. So 7 or 8 verses he speaks only about Ananya Bhakti there. Rest all is Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti. So when we study the Gita and understand all this very clearly, then what happens? Our impurities also are gone. And then we understand. And once you understand, first is the knowledge aspect. Once you understand that this is the right path, then going on that path is second. But 50%, the task is taken away, means you have done the task when you understand the right understanding. So, right in the Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, Sudha Goswami is making that clear. And elsewhere in the entire Bhagavatam, the same thing gets established. Okay. Yes.
So like 60% they think bhakti to be medium. Like they also sometimes do bhakti.
Yes.
And sometimes they think that bhakti is bhakti is for simple way, like that. So you told that when the sadhana bhakti is suddha, then only when you attend the suddha bhakti.
Sadhana bhakti.
So
Yes.
the sadhana bhakti is to
Yes. Yeah.
What aspect of bhakti do they consider? Like, what is their conception of bhakti? Like, which type of bhakti they are considering to be simple, or they are taking path, like intermediate path to attain liberation? What is that bhakti in between, which is there in their mind?
No, basically, the jnanis who practice jnana sadhana, they are having their limbs of jnana sadhana. So Krishna in the Gita speaks about 20 items of knowledge. Amanitam, Adambitvam, beginning from that. And there is one item, Mayi Chananya Yogena Bhakti Avyabicharini. So they also practice one limb of bhakti. Apart from this, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatva, knowledge of self-realization. You know, so they practice that. And then there are items of Jnana and Vairagya. So they focus on all these items. And there is one item, element of bhakti in it. So that is why it is called as Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Because that bhakti is mixed with Jnana. Or it can be Bhakti Mishra Jnana. The Jnana is predominant. There is one small element of bhakti. So it is not by their Jnana sadhana that they attain liberation. The bhakti element which is present in their Jnana sadhana, that one element what they perform, Bhakti Devi gives the fruit of Jnana in the form of liberation. Karma on its own cannot give any results. The bhakti element which is there in karma, that gives the result. Like a karma kandi is performing a yagya to go to swarga. He has a moksha kandi, swarga kami. So he's performing yagya to attain swarga, Indra, Om Indraya Swaha. But in chanting those mantras, he is uttering Om. And Om is the absolute truth. So he doesn't have the understanding. So he is performing a small element of bhakti practice in that. And that bhakti gives the result of his karma in the form of result for liberation or swarga. So similarly, Gyan path also, the bhakti element which is present in Gyan gives the fruit of liberation. So that's why bhakti, you know, should be present with Gyan or karma mixture, then only it can give results. Whereas bhakti on its own is independent and swarat like the Lord. It is self-manifested. It is the Swarup Shakti of the Lord. And it doesn't need any support of karma and jnana. So that is the glory of bhakti. And that's why Shuddha Bhakti means Jnana Karmadya Anavritam. Okay. Thank you very, very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Last question.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Last question.
1 second.